Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we're discussing my thoughts on episode 1 of the anime series, ClassicaLoid, and holy hell, I love this show. Just watching the first episode, giving my first impressions, I already feel like this could be one of my all-time favorite anime series ever. It has so much going for it that speaks to things I love. I immediately got a sort of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure vibe because we're dealing with Beethoven and Mozart and that classical music, but also done in a like rock and roll style, sort of like an 80s hair band style with the OP and everything like that. Just frickin' fell head over heels in love with this series from the start. I love how eccentric Beats and Mozart are, Beethoven and Mozart respectively. Mozart, what is with his motif, all pink and everything, like a girly boy kinda, but in a hilarious way. And of course, Beethoven, probably the standout character for me from the ClassicaLoid side of things, just looking like the perfect anime portrait of that, sort of persona. And he is obsessed in this episode with creating gyoza. He utilizing, I don't know what it was, like rocket fuel or something to try to cook them to perfection. And he's like gonna destroy the whole house if he does this. I mean, he practically does. He causes an explosion. And but the real sort of center of the episode is really the normal characters, if you will, Sosuke and Kanai. Kanai being very much who the story is revolving around. She's mulling over getting rid of her grandmother's mansion, this classical mansion, which the ClassicaLoids have taken up residence in, sort of against her wishes. Even her lifelong chum, Sosuke, she's like trying to dump all of his stuff, his computer stuff, and, his guitar, his musical stuff, all this kind of stuff, because, he's just sort of like, I guess, squatting in her abode, and she wants to be able to tear it down and be done with it, move on with her life. But she's letting go of something so deep and important to her by doing this. It's very much a journey in this first episode for her to piece that together, and it's through the magical, music created by Beethoven, the ClassicaLoid. Once he finally remembers that he can do it, he can summon this mystical, magical vision of music, pulling out of a very portrait of sort of a dance ball that her grandmother says she once attended, pulling all of those people out of it, making them come alive, making the, construction workers who are there to demolish the house, they get one good hit in, destroying the upper room, which I think was probably Sosuke's, so all his stuff is probably junked. But, before this vision overtakes them all and it mesmerizes them, it sends the construction workers packing. And it's very interesting that they're already on the phone as they're driving away saying, yep, we think we found the ClassicaLoids. And this call goes into these two girls who are talking to Bach-sama, So it's like, is Big Bad Bach, is he the baddie for the series? Is it something like they have to keep these, people contained, whatever the ClassicaLoids are? Are they of alien origin? I mean, at one point you see this giant organ which had been broken, which Mozart actually ended up, because he crashed into it, trying to be Indiana Jones inside this giant mansion, flipping around and everything. He crashed into it, and like all of a sudden during this, music segment, it turns into a giant like robot, and it's fighting the giant robot that the construction vehicles become, and it's just madcap and wacky. But I love the music. I love the characters, and I'm really just entranced. That music must have washed over my own brain the way it did everybody as Beats was pulling it out, because holy hell, I was just grinning from ear to ear the entire time. And of course, right when he finally gets the gyoza, perfectly cooked, this is when the demolishing happens. And this is what sends him over the edge. Anytime he's down and he can't think of something, he wants to go create gyoza, the perfect gyoza. And it's just, oh man, freaking loved it. I loved that, Kanai, by the end, she realized how important this mansion was to her, not only for the sake of her grandmother, but for her own sort of appreciation, for the lineage of her family and all this stuff. And it's really hilarious that even though, Beethoven was kind of a chief integral part of winning her over to that notion, by the end, they all assume, Sosuke, Beethoven, Mozart, they all assume they're going to be able to stay there, and she wants them out, she still wants them out. It's just, man, I loved it. Loved it. I can't wait to see more of this. This is probably going to be a contender for episodic reviews just because it seems like it's going to be so damn fun every week. And this is going to be the bright, shining, spot for me. If they continue with like reinterpreting this classical music, I've been a long time classical music fan, Beethoven being my all-time favorite, but I like things from Mozart and Bach and Chopin and all this stuff. And we see that a lot of these characters are going to be ClassicaLoids, encountered within the series. So I can't wait to hear these new interpretations of these, musical pieces. And it's just going to be awesome. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you've seen episode 1 of ClassicaLoid, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, if you're as highfalutin and ready to support it as I am, or if it just seemed too ultimately weird for you, love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Just love having that conversation. And so, yeah, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Bring on the next one, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.